Wait, you've had a client threaten you?
Yeah, like fight me, not kill me, but
Still, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, he was like super angry because of.
Before we get started with our episode, we're going to hear from our sponsor. Shopify makes it easy to manage your growing business. They help with all the details like shipping, taxes, payments, all from one single dashboard. Their powerful social media tools help you connect all of your channels so that you can make shoppable posts everywhere that people scroll. With Shopify, your first sale is much closer than you think. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Rebecca. All lowercase letters. Go to shopify.com/Rebecca to start selling with Shopify today. Now let's get started with this week's episode. So you go by Nito online.
Yeah.
But do your followers ever use your real name, or is that like a privacy thing?
No, not a privacy, because my name is actually Juan, Juan. But everyone calls me Juanito. It's like a Spanish name, Juanito.
That makes sense.
And then when I was in New York, because I'm from New York, Long Island, everyone called me Juanito everything. Because I always got my hands into everything, like videography, music, barber, everything. Like I always knew everything. So everyone called me Juanito everything. So then when I was going to move out here, one of my good friends, shout out Mike Rook, he's like, yo, you need to change your name to Nito, because it's unique, and whenever people search you, you're gonna be the first one, because everybody types Juanito on Google, a whole bunch of people come up. But if you type number one, which is the one, Nito.
Juanito. That's so smart. Okay, so I see it now.
I didn't come up with that. I give the note to my boy Mike Rook. I always tell him every time I see him, he's the one who really create that name for me, as like how to write it. So
that's so creative.
So like now everybody just calls me Nito, which I love. So
I love creative people. Yeah. At first I was like, yeah, maybe it's just like a niche thing, but it makes sense now. I'm dumb. It's fine.
Yeah, no, this how it just came out.
That's so fun. I love that.
Yeah. And I love the fact that it's my name.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm calling myself something different.
Right. It's not like a nickname. Like it is your name. Yeah. I love that. I wish my name was fun like that. I just sound like a comic book character. Becca Rogers.
That's funny.
But so you're a braider.
Correct.
Like you braid hair.
Mm-hmm.
I am so fat. Like I know we talked about this at the holiday party, but I have so many questions. Like I'm so excited, and you have such a fascinating story. Before we get into, and like it's a beautiful story, and I love it so much. Before we get into like the big stuff, I want to know exactly how you got into braiding and what that looked like. Like, did you have to go through any like licensing program? Is it more accessible in that there's not courses or anything that people have to go through? Like, I want all the details.
Mm-hmm. So basically, I've been a barber like for 13 years.
Okay.
And I started cutting hair in New York, Long Island.
Okay.
So I started cutting hair first, and then my brother got involved, and then he started cutting hair.
Mm-hmm.
And then a couple of years after, about like 6 years ago, he started braiding hair. Mm-hmm. So he's like, I want to get back. I want to try to do braids, because he always liked doing like the bracelets, like bracelets in your hand and stuff.
Yeah.
So he's like, I think I could be good in braids. So he started doing braids, and he started getting a lot of clientele, and he was making a lot of money. And then I tried to do it, and I hated it. I couldn't handle.
What did you hate about it?
So much hair, holding the hair, and like I just couldn't manage my hand around it to like part it, and it was just something that I didn't really like. I love just cutting hair and doing fades and designs and stuff. So me and my brother opened up our own shop, and then he started doing that. And then one day when COVID came and everything shut down, then everyone's trying to figure out what's next in life. So we're all trying to figure out where are we going, what are we doing, everything is closed. So we had someone we knew out here in North Carolina that moved out here, and they were doing good. And then we got a phone call with him, and then my brother kind of made it sound like, oh, yo, I'll move out there in North Carolina. I'll be the first braider out there in North Carolina. And like it was like, yo, you will blow up. You will make so much money.
Yeah.
It was not even nothing about social media. It was just like
nothing about social media. Having the access to that kind of service. Yeah.
So we were just like, oh man, like so he was the one saying like, yo, I'm gonna go. And me, I was like, I didn't even cross my mind. Then he said no, and then he wasn't gonna come. So then My wife is a behavior analyst for kids with autism, and she was running.
Amazing. Queen of a woman.
She was running a clinic. She was
Mhm.
running like a place, but then they shut it down. And then after they opened it, there was like a whole bunch of rules. So she hated it. So she quit her job, and then she wanted to do something more like a behavior analysis, but she needed like another license in New
Yeah.
York to do that. But if she moved somewhere else, she didn't need it, like North Carolina. So her dad lived out here, and every time we came out here to visit, we loved it. And one night, I'm just going now. I'm going tracking towards like how we moved to North Carolina. But whatever, we moved to North Carolina, and yeah, I started working at the barbershop my brother was supposed to work at, and then I started braiding hair there. I already knew the idea of braiding. That wasn't my main thing, but I already knew how to braid, not how I braid now. And then I was like, hey, I'm gonna start braiding hair. And then I started braiding hair. Didn't need no license at all to braid hair. You just need a license for barbering, and then transfer your license and stuff. But for braiding hair, you don't need a license.
Was it difficult to transfer your barber license from New York to here?
Yeah, because you needed more hours here. There's more
Really?
yeah required here.
That's surprising. Usually, different industries like
Yeah.
teaching, for example, like the requirements are so much higher in New York. So
Yeah.
that's really surprising
No,
to me.
here there's way more hours.
Wow.
Yeah, I think here in North Carolina there's more hours than everywhere else. for barbers.
Fascinating.
So we started doing that, and then I started braiding hair, and then just started my career from there.
Wow. Okay, so you originally didn't like braiding at
Mhm,
first. Is
yeah.
there like anything in particular that kind of changed your view on that?
Oh, the need of money and needed of clients to when I moved out here, I
Yeah.
had no clientele. From going from working at a barbershop in New York for like years and build my clientele to come in to a
Yeah.
new restart, it's like I gotta do this. I gotta love this. So I had to fall in love with it, and I fell in love with it. I love it. You know?
Good.
Yeah.
So what does a typical day as a braider like look like? Like what and I know that there's going to be so many people in general, like
Yeah.
especially like white people who don't
Mhm.
even know like what that
Yeah.
means. Can you explain to them like what that is, what goes into that, and like how important it is for like different communities who really need that done to their hair?
Yeah, well, it depends. It depends on the hair, like you said, like white people that want braids or Mexicans. Because I actually did do on my social media, like, can Mexicans get braids? Can Chinese people get braids? Can white people get braids? Can
Yeah, all the
every
hair
time-
types
yeah,
are so
they're
different.
very, very different, and it's just like it all depends on the product that you use as
Okay.
well for whenever you're braiding that type of hair.
Okay, this is like an ADHD question that just popped into my head. As someone that's worked with so many different kinds of hair
Mhm.
types, what are some differences between different kinds of hair that you just notice? Because like everyone's hair is
Yeah.
so different.
Yeah, it's just the thickness of it.
Okay.
Basically what it is, like the thickness and how dry it is. It's
Mhm.
like usually white people have thinner hair than Mexican people's hair.
Mhm.
And like their hair is so like strong and like it's hard to break.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's
Okay.
and they have a lot more hair.
Yeah.
Black people hair is different too because it's so how do you call it when it's like not nappy, it's not, there's another word
Is
for
it fragile?
no, it's there's another word for like nappy hair. Coarse,
Coarse?
like
Okay.
coarse is, and it's like for that you have to like wash it properly, blow dry it
Mhm.
properly, make sure that it's nice and straight to be able to braid the hair.
That's so fascinating.
Yeah, it's very different. Like every time
Yeah.
there's someone different that comes into the door like, and like ethnicity, like Mexican or white, like then I'll like once I see them, they're like, okay, that's gonna be easy.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's gonna take me more time.
We
Like-
probably have to like get your hands on it and really feel like
yeah, for
how
sure.
healthy is it? How thick is it? What is it going to require? How to do this delicately so you're
Yeah.
not breaking the hair? Absolutely.
Yeah, so like all that goes in. Like you could bring me two different people, a white person, a black person, and they can't have the same hairstyle and the same braids, and it's different way you gotta
Yeah.
have to do it.
Interesting. So typically, like what goes in, like how long does it really take for someone to get braids?
Could be like 2 hours.
Really? Oh
Yeah,
my
if you wanna
gosh.
get, like very technical, like could be 4 hours, 5 hours.
What do you mean by technical?
Like a lot of designs, if they want like if they
Wow.
want their haircut and they want to get like a fade and design and a beard and a hot towel, like all that stuff. It depends really on like what they book. But the fastest one, like an hour, like a haircut and braids.
That's so. I literally, you just blew my mind with 4 hours.
Yeah, no, I've done people that take. I've done people that take me like 12 hours.
Wow.
Because they want like dreadlocks. So that's
Okay.
like a whole different thing, like dreadlocks.
Tell me more. Tell me all the
So
things.
like you know how people have like locks. And
Yes,
dreadlocks?
yes, yes.
There's people that have straight hair that they want locks and they want them right away. They don't want to go through the ugly process.
What is the ugly process of getting
letting your hair knot up by itself. That's what like just letting hair knot up by itself create its own look, and a lot of people don't want to wait for that ugly process. So what they do is do crocheting. So there's a crochet needle that you part the hair how you want the boxes to be, and you start crocheting the hair. Basically, just creating knots on the hair so it can look like a dread.
Wow.
Yeah, and then people that have straight hair, like I've done it to my own hair. People that want straight hair, they have to go through that process to be able for the hair to lock, and then that takes for somebody to have like you. If you wanted locks, it will take you about like 12 hours.
Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And then so like when it comes to I heard a lot of in talking to some different hairstylists that there's an entire process that goes into like dematting or de-locking. Like what does that process even look like?
I have not. I never taken off like locks before. I just cut them, really. But I heard you talking before about like when someone comes in and haven't taken care of their hair and like it's knotted up. I had this lady that came into my shop about like 2 months ago. She got into a bad car accident with her hands, so she couldn't brush her hair. And she came in and her hair was, she had a whole lock in the back of her head. Like literally, it was hard. It was
Poor
locked
thing.
up. And I brushed it 'cause I didn't want her to cut it off. So I
Yeah.
was just brushing it, and I have the video on TikTok too, and it brushed it, and it took me about 2 hours just to brush it out.
Wow.
She lost a lot of hair, but she still had her own hair, and I braided her hair after, so she didn't have to like leave it all out. So I braided it, I gave it 2 braids, she kept it for like a month. She came back, I washed it, and then I did it again, so like until her hand got better.
That's actually so sweet that you were so
and I didn't even
passionate
charge her.
about
I
that.
felt so bad for her, like, and she was inspired by, and she was also a hairstylist, and she was inspired by like what I went through with my hand and getting back into the braiding and cutting hair. She's like, if you do it, I could do it. So it was pretty cool.
So she knew of you before.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Everyone that comes to me knows me now. So it's cool.
So I want to talk about. Have you talked about like your accent online a lot?
No, I haven't. I have not talked to, well, on by myself on my own, like on my own platform.
Yeah.
By myself. Yeah, I talk about it all the time.
So you're comfortable talking about it.
Yeah, I post videos of me crying and what I'm going through. Yeah, for sure.
Do you mind telling the story here?
No.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, basically in October of last year, 28th, right? Yeah, October 28th at 7:45, I went to this in Mooresville. That's where I live, Mooresville Dragway, which is like a car place that were doing like racing and showing off cars. I used to work for a company that had cars, and they had a Can-Am. You know what a Can-Am is? Like a side by side.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, can I drive it? And then I got in, and they're like, yeah, go ahead. So I got in it. I have a slingshot too, and I also drove that thing before that day. So I grabbed it. I started driving it, and I went with my wife's brother, his little brother. He was 15 years old, and I took it all the way to the back where like nobody was there, and I was by the grass, and I started drifting.
Wow.
And I started drifting, and then when I stopped, no, I started doing donuts, and when I stopped, I was gonna go back to where I parked the car, but I didn't see that it was grass and then concrete, and then the back tire hit like a little hole, and then like it started tilting. The Can-Am started tilting like literally slow motion, and I was like, whoa, what's going on? And my reaction was to put my hand out. So I put my hand out and it landed in me, and then I after that I just don't remember much. All I remember was like tilted. He was on top of me, and he took his buckle off. He kept saying, "Oh, I'm okay. We're okay. We're okay." He got off, and then I went to take my seatbelt off with my hand. I couldn't take it off with this one because it was hard. So when I lifted this hand to like take the other one off, I didn't know what was going on with my hand. Then when I lifted it, it started splattering blood, and then it splattered blood all over. It was by Halloween, so he had a costume on. So thank God he had a mask. So then it splattered blood all over his face, and then he got out the car. He was 15 years old. He started screaming, he's dying, that I was dying because he saw my hand, and then he called the cops. He called 911. I talked to Siri. I was like, hey, call my wife, call my wife. So my wife picked up, and I was like, I got in a bad accident. I'm dying, I'm dying. And then when I saw my hand, I started bugging out. And then I tried to get up. I couldn't get up. I fell like 3 times, fainted because of the blood. And then thank God I got into like holding up, and I got up. Then I saw this lady run up, and she took her shirt off, and she grabbed my hand, and she didn't let go. And then and then after that, a whole bunch of people started running to where it was. The videos on YouTube too, because there was a drone flying while it happened. So like they gave me that footage, so I put it on YouTube. I got the video on YouTube, where like everybody was, and the ambulance and everything, and then since that day, my life changed forever.
So they took you to the hospital.
Yeah, so then, they took me to the hospital. They took me to the first hospital, was in Lake Norman. And they got me in there, and the doctor came in, looked at my hand, and she couldn't really do anything about it. She looked at it, she was all like, because I guess they don't deal with that type of stuff. And then, she didn't give me much. All I kept asking was like, I'm gonna be able to keep my hand. First thing you think is like they're gonna chop my hand.
Right. Am I gonna be okay?
She couldn't say anything. She basically said no, and then then they had to like touch my hand, but they couldn't give me medicine because they didn't know what was going. So then they had to send me to a different hospital.
Wow.
And it was all the way in Charlotte. They sent me out there. Then I got my surgery. And then, after that surgery, 5 more surgeries after that, therapy every day, and it's been a year since then.
Well, so originally, when you talked to doctors, what was their expectation or prognosis of what was going to happen to your hand? Like, were they sure you were going to be able to keep it? Did they think you would get?
They didn't know, because they don't know how they can't tell you. It's like, hey, you're going to get 10%, 20%, or 5%, because they don't know how your body is going to react to it.
Wow.
So like, because my hand was like destroyed, all my metacarpals came off, like all this stuff, like it just broke all of this, and then the whole bottom of my hand just like came off.
Wow.
So, like, it was just like wide open.
Did they ever voice to you they were worried you were going to lose your hand?
Yeah, 3 doctors did.
3 doctors told you were going to lose your hand?
Yeah.
Was it all like while you were getting the surgeries for the accident, or was it like afterwards? Like,
no, it was while, like, in the first
day, like while you were being treated.
While I went to the first, I kept asking, and but I guess I was asking like the wrong people, because there's some people that don't.
I don't know if I would say wrong people. I think that when you have like a traumatic thing like that.
When I mean wrong people, I mean like wrong people as like they don't know.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Like they don't really know. They're just nurses.
Or they think, or like,
but they're not the real, like, I like deal with this type of thing, like they just see it and be like, oh my God,
So 3 different doctors told you they thought you were going to lose your hand.
Yeah, for sure.
Wow. And then, so once you came out of, I'm assuming your surgeries were not back to back.
Yeah.
Like you had.
It was like every 3 weeks.
We're going to take a quick break and hear from our sponsor. It's 2025, and a new year means new opportunities. For a lot of y'all out there, I know you've been thinking about one thing over the holidays, and that's starting your own business. But you probably also have a lot of questions. How do I get started? How do I come up with a brand? How do I sell stuff to people? And what am I even going to sell? Take a deep breath, because Shopify's got you. Shopify makes it easy to manage your growing business. They help with all the details like shipping, taxes, payments, all from one single dashboard, which allows you to actually focus on the important stuff like starting and growing the business. Their powerful social media tools help you connect all of your channels so that you can make shoppable posts everywhere that people scroll. With Shopify, your first sale is much closer than you think. Established in 2025. Has a nice ring to it, doesn't it? Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Rebecca. All lowercase letters. Go to shopify.com/Rebecca to start selling with Shopify today. Now, back to the episode. Okay, so there was time in between.
Yeah.
So after after you first left the hospital the first time, did they have an idea of would you be able to use your hand again? Would you have full function in it? Would you lose at a different date? Like, what did they have an idea of?
First, they were just, after the first surgery, they just put it together with like the skin and everything that was there. And then they just said we have to wait a week for us to see it. So then I went back, I saw it, and then the skin started dying out. So all of this was brand new. So like all of this started turning black. So that's why they couldn't say nothing.
Wow. So like your body wasn't accepting the new skin.
Correct. Yeah. No, accepting my actual skin.
Oh,
so, because they can't take no skin from nowhere else. If I had my skin still there, they would just attach it and then see what dies.
Wow.
So that's why they couldn't say nothing.
So your body wasn't even accepting your own skin.
My own skin, yeah. It didn't accept my own skin.
So what did they have to do?
They took off from up here. I have a whole patch here.
Oh my gosh.
Here and they put it
And they just tried it again. Like, we'll take skin from somewhere else. Let's try it.
Yeah.
That's so scary.
Yeah, it was very, very, very
Did it take the second time?
Well, the first time was to put my skin. They did my body rejected it, so they had to take it off. So after they take it off, then they put a skin, and it's called pig skin. It's a clear skin. So basically, they just put like a clear skin in it, to just let it heal inside by itself first, and then they take that off, and then they put your own skin. So that's what they did. And then I accepted it after that, which I'm blessed, thank God.
Absolute, holy moly.
Yeah.
So like you were already a braider at this point.
Mm-hmm.
What was kind of going through your mind about like your livelihood and what that was going to look like?
It was difficult because I didn't know where I really didn't know. I didn't know where I was gonna end up. I kept like a positive mentality as like I'll be back. Even though the doctor says that I wasn't going to be braiding hair again.
They said that?
Oh, yeah, multiple times.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did they think you were going to lose function of your hand?
I did a lot of function, so I got more than what they expected.
What did they expect?
Different doctors would tell you differently.
So, like, one said, like, 100%, the other said, like, 50.
No, they never went more than, like, 70, 80%.
Really? Yeah. Okay. So, one doctor said, like, 70, another said, like, 20.
Yep.
Interesting. So how much did you gain back?
I feel like I gained back at least like 70-75%.
Wow.
Yeah, my thumb is like, it's funny because nothing much happened to my thumb, but it's the most effective one.
Really?
I can't move my thumb, and your thumb is like 80% of your hair, the most important part of your hair. So like I couldn't move this is the most I can move my thumb. So like I braid hair without my thumb. I braid hair with this 2 fingers now.
Wow.
Yeah. So I told myself how to braid with just 2 fingers instead of my thumb.
You told me like the sweetest thing at the holiday party, that a lot of like when they were giving you the prognosis about your hand, that something that was going through your head is that you had to not only get like mobility back in order to provide for your family, but also because you had daughters and that you wanted to be able to do their hair also.
Oh yeah.
And that would like, tell me more about how that was like such a motivator for you.
So it was more like because I have 2 daughters. I have my girl Sky, she's 2 years old, and I got my new baby girl.
Oh,
Roxy.
congratulations!
And it's like this could have paused it could have stopped like what I had going on.
Yeah. And
then like in my head is like, what would I tell my daughter or my kids, like what happened to me and what stopped my career, and it to me it's just like it got to me, and I was like I need to push myself as much as I can, and then I went and started to open up the barbershop, even though the doctor says that I couldn't do it or whatever. I kept going to a barbershop. I taught my father how to braid hair. My father started braiding hair, and then while he was going there, and then I used to get my hands in there, like practice and figuring it out until I figured it out, and then one day I just started braiding hair, and it just became easy, and now I braid I feel like I braid better now than I was braided before.
Really? Without the thumb?
Without the thumb.
That's crazy.
Yep.
So did you start social media before or after the accident?
I've been on social media for like 3.5 years now.
Okay. Were
Yeah,
you
since 2020 or 2019?
What's up? Say it again.
Social media, when I started, 2020 or 2019?
2020.
Yeah, 2020. So it's 4 years.
Wow. So when you were going through your accident, like did you have a lot of people online who were really like invested in what was going to happen? Like, I'm sure they were very invasive.
Everybody in my I have very supportive fan base and follower in this. Everyone knows, you know, and I shared
That's so
every moment
beautiful.
of it, and everybody
I
was
love that.
there, and I have gotten so many like DMs on like how like this experience had like been helping them with their own issues, you know, because we all have issues in
Yeah,
life.
I
We all
love
have we
that.
all have like troubles in life, and you know, yeah, this happened to me, but a lot like I met this little girl. She was 15 years old. My same doctor that did my hand did her. She got like bit by a shark in Florida. She got bit by
Wow.
a shark, so she lost her leg and her hand, her arm, and then
Wow.
they flew her out here, and the same doctor that did me did her, and my doctor told her about me, and she knew who I was. So then I went and visited her and stuff like that, and she's doing great now.
Oh, and so you were able to like talk to her and
Yeah,
like
talk to her,
reassure her.
help her
Oh,
mentally, because it really does hit more mentally than anything. And
oh
now
yeah.
it doesn't hit right away; it hits months after.
Once the shock wears
Yeah.
off.
Yeah. Whenever like everything wears off and like goes back to reality of life, that's when it hits you. When it hit me more is like when I used to like try to change the diapers of my daughter, or like open the bottles to like clean the bottles. I couldn't open them. So it's like all that, and then but now I could do everything literally now. Now I'm going to the gym again. So because I wasn't being able to go to the gym before, now
Yeah.
that I'm able to lift weights, and I've been getting so much stronger with my hand now. Open the bottles with no problem, so it's like amazing.
I love that. Oh, that's beautiful. That that's so important. I was even I talk about this with so many different guests that there's so many times on social media that people try to make their platforms like all the picture perfect things and all happy and all sunshine and roses, and in reality like no one's life is like that.
Yeah.
And I think it's so important when people talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly all together, because it's like it's authentic and it's realistic, and there's always going to be people watching who can relate and also have things going on. And whether they feel like they're alone and going through an experience, that other people might be able to validate and say like, you're not alone, I'm experiencing the same things, you're not doing anything wrong, or even just like feeling like they're the only ones in the world going through something and they're just not. So I think that's so amazing that you were not only able, but like willing to share that along the way, like talking about your fears and what are you going to do to help your family and what is that going to look like and how's this going to affect my kids. Like these are very real parent instincts and reactions and thoughts. And I think that's amazing that you were willing to do that at what was probably such a vulnerable time. And I love that. While you were experiencing this, like, what were some of the hardships aside from like the fear of, okay, how am I going to provide for the family and what am I going to tell my girls? What were some of the other hardships that you experienced during recovery, whether it be something that you dealt with on your own or something in the medical field, or even just people's reaction to your recovery? Was there any other thing that you can think of that really just made that time more difficult than it needed to be?
I think myself.
Okay.
I think I was just afraid of myself, of like bursting. Like how can I like because I'm a type of person that I keep everything in, and I got to get done what I have to get done.
Yeah.
I have to go to work. I have to make money. I have to keep going with this going on, and just forget about my recovery, and I'll just get better and better and better. But it was like, I was afraid that one night I was just going through shock, and I'd be like, okay, my life is over. So and like I just get into a bubble of stress and depression, like I'm feeling depressed, feeling lonely. I was afraid of feeling that while I was going through my process. But I'm blessed that it wasn't like that, and then I did feel it a little bit, and then I gave myself more into God, and I started going into church more. And I'm Christian. I went to church, and then I got baptized and stuff like that, and it helped me a lot. And just I was just more afraid of myself, I guess. I was just like trying to hide what was inside to not like let my daughter or my wife see what I was going
Yeah.
through. And
Like nervous to be vulnerable.
yeah, for sure.
I feel like when it comes to medical things, whether it's an accident or an illness or um anything really that kind of makes you take a pause in your own life, I feel like especially people in our generation typically feel they need to go, 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 move, and anything that kind of interrupts that can be so scary because we're so used to having to constantly grind and work and move, and staying still feels almost like wrong, like what am I doing wrong kind of thing. And I feel like that's I can't even think of the word that I'm thinking of right now. It can feel almost debilitating to have to stop and to have to sit still and take care of yourself because you want to be the overachiever that gets through it quicker or gets through it faster or gets more than what you probably should get done.
Right.
And it's so debilitating when your literal obstacle is your own body because you can't, no matter how much you want it, no matter how hard you work, your body's only going to heal as quick as it's going to heal.
For sure.
And I know this is not the same at all. And I talked about this with Bailey, and so it's just on my mind. But when I started with everything going on in my life, I was so stressed out that I started losing my hair, and it just started all coming out in patches. It was literally so scary for me. And at the end of the day, all you can do is wait for it to grow back, and you can take the biotin and you can take the serums, but at the end of the day, it is just a waiting game when it comes to your body healing. It's just a waiting game.
Sure.
I have a family friend who has had some heart complications as of recently. And they love to live life. They love to eat, they love to drink beer, they love to eat red meats, they love to exercise and do golf and all the things. They love to play with their kids. And they've been having some heart complications. They've been going into VFib. They're not allowed to do those things anymore. And he keeps trying to speed run his recovery. And every time he does, well, I'll just have to get back to the kids. Well, I just have to get back to the kids. Well, that makes it worse. And it puts him farther and farther behind. And at some point, like, it is so hard to accept that you just kind of have to let your body heal on its own. And even though we might be overachievers, there's nothing that we can do to speed roll that process, which is so frustrating.
It is very.
Whether it's, a mental thing with stress or whether it's a physical thing with an accident, like your body just heals when it heals. And that's so scary for people.
Yeah.
Is there anything, so you talked about church was really helpful for you.
Oh, yeah.
Was there anything else that, like, if someone is going through any kind of healing, whether it's mental, emotional, physical, whatever, anything else that really like helped you get through that time?
My wife.
I love that. What a queen of a woman.
My wife just being there and just like telling me that everything will be okay, and like she didn't look super stressed. Like she didn't show me no stress. Like she just.
That's beautiful.
She knew it was gonna be fine.
Okay.
She
had hope.
Yeah, I don't even have a moment to think about like her making me feel that she was afraid of what was going to happen next.
I love that.
And I feel like that was the most important part. I feel like that's what helped me more, because I care so much for her and how she feels. It turned off again.
We got the wide one. It's fine.
And how she feels, that she didn't give me not even a bit of that. She knew that everything was gonna be fine.
I love that.
And I feel like that definitely helped me, and people around me, my friends and family and doctors. My doctor was great. He always told me that I was doing more than I was supposed to, and I'm doing great, that I'm not gonna hurt myself. And it's been great. And then since then, when I got into my accident, then my daughter got sick, and then she had like an appendix that bursted in her stomach.
Is she okay?
Yeah.
Oh, thank goodness.
Like a couple months later, like 2-3 months later, busted, and like like a month before my accident. That's so crazy. Like my life has been, and like a month before my accident, I got into a car accident with my wife and my daughter. Um, and we had to jump out the back of the car, and like it was crazy. And then my accident happened, and then a couple months later, my daughter had her appendix bursted in the little stomach. We had to rush her to the hospital. She had surgery. We were in the hospital for 7 days. And while we were in the hospital for 7 days, I always wanted to come out with my own hair product because now like I'm into like the barber industry and like hair and braiding. So I always wanted to come out with my own hair product, but I never wanted to like order it from a different country, like from China.
Yeah.
Like I wanted it hands on, like
Yeah, you wanted to be really a part of what was in it, what
correct,
goes into it.
So
That's so
yeah,
important.
so I wanted to be like made in US, and like I didn't want to make something cheap just to, like grab money from people.
Yeah,
Like, I really
absolutely.
wanted to make
We
something
love
good.
that.
So
Show me what you got.
yeah, so while we were at the hospital, I started
Ooh.
designing. Like I started looking up on apps on the computer while we were in the hospital sleeping over, like how to design the bottles and stuff like
I
that.
love
And
it.
then I didn't know what I was doing. I really didn't know what I was doing until like a couple weeks later or months or something. I had um my partner, that's my partner now with my hair product, named Tony. He messaged me on Instagram. He's an older man. He had his own company,
Uh-huh.
and I met him in 2018. 2018, I met him in 2018. He had
Wow.
his own hair. He had his beard product called the Bearded Butler, and he was doing really good. So back then in 2018, I wasn't doing no social media or nothing.
Right.
I was young, and I went to a barber convention, and I met him there. I spoke to him, and I loved his product, and he liked my energy. And then he asked me, "Hey, you want to go on stage and showcase, like use my product on stage and like represent my product?" I was like, "Yeah, of course." So I went on stage. I competed in a competition. I won first place with his name, and it was pretty cool. And then after that, we never spoke again. And then he hit me up after my daughter got out the hospital, and he hit me up and he's like, "Hey, can I talk to you?" I'm like, "Tony, I haven't seen him talk to this guy in 2010." And he had me up on Instagram, and then we got on a phone call, and he was like talking to me. He's like, "Hi, how you doing, man? I see what you're doing. I'm proud of you. I'm not shocked." Because I know when I met you, you had such an energy, and you always was gonna be something big. And I'm proud of you. I see what you got going on. One of my barbers, he owns a barber shop. So in Philadelphia, and one of his barbers went to get his car fixed, I believe, and like an older man was watching my videos on the mechanic shop, like at this old mechanic shop in Philly, an older man watching my videos, and like the barber went back to Tony, like, "Yo, Tony, do you know this guy?" And Tony was like, "Yeah, I know him. That's Juan. I know him since 2018. What's going on?" He's like, "Man, this old man at the tire shop was watching him, and he said that he loves when he said, 'Let's go.' He loves his energy. He loves his positivity. And this man is not even in the barber industry." And then Tony, so since then, he hit me up. He said, "Hey, Nito, you know I'm in the hair products. I always done products before, and I don't know nothing about products. And
Yeah.
that's a whole different ball game."
Yeah, than just cutting hair and braiding hair. Yeah.
So he knows all about that. You know, all about getting into Target and where to order and what
Even just
you
how to
gotta
make
go.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. So he already had labs. He already had everything. He's like, "Yo,
Wow.
I would love to partner up with you. I'll guide you through all of this. You just got to keep doing what you're doing, and let's give your fans and your supporters something great, something good, and a good hair product." And
I love
know,
that.
and all your fans are gonna support you. And so we've been working on this product since my accident, so about a year now. And
love
it's
this.
basically all about me. Like you see it says "Let's go." Because if
I
you don't know how to
love that.
braid, hit that follow button. Let's go. So I felt let's go everywhere I go. Like anywhere I go, movies, wherever I go, everyone's like, "Yo, Nito, let's go." Like everybody shares such a high energy with that word
I love
that I
that.
had to name my
Yeah, I
product.
love it.
Yeah.
So question, because literally am so fascinated
Yeah.
because I couldn't even begin to understand how you even make products like this. This is so cool. So I know we talked about how every different kind of hair is so different and has different
Correct.
needs. So these products, is it especially helpful to a certain kind of
So,
hair,
yeah,
or is it like universal?
No, so it's universal at it's right. We search what's the most byproducts right now, and
Okay.
it's more like thin, curly hair.
Okay.
And so basically, we created this for like curly is a curly hair shampoo,
Okay.
and it's also we put a lot of products in there that are like boost your follicles. Like we
Okay.
got keratin, and it's also sulfate free. Sulfate free. A lot of people wonder why their scalps is so dry, and it's because they use sulfate. And sulfate, what it does, it takes off your natural oils.
Oh.
And like if you wash your hair a lot with sulfate shampoos, like a lot of shampoos nowadays have sulfate on it, and it dries out your scalp. It takes off your natural oils.
Wow.
So, like, this is sulfate free. So like you cannot wash your hair. You have to wash your hair with this type of product like twice a week.
So
If you wash it too much, like every day type thing,
This
because I
too
was doing it myself,
yeah.
you're gonna see your hair super oily
Okay.
because that's your own.
It's
oils.
It's overproducing.
Correct.
Because
It's
you
your
keep
own
getting rid of
oils.
it.
Correct. Yep.
Interesting. So if sulfate is so bad for your hair, why do they put it in shampoos?
Oh, because it just looks cool.
'Cause
Because sulfate is the soap. You see.
So it's like
when
what
you go, like-
lathers.
yes, the correct. The lather. You know how like
So it's just there for funsies. It's just there for show.
It looks good. So whenever you like wash your hair and you see it foam up and you be like, yo, that looks good. That's what it's just like eye driven. You know, that's what sells. When in reality, that's the worst thing for your hair.
I never knew that.
Yeah. So like if you ever wash your hair with my shampoo, you're gonna feel like a creamy texture when you're
Yeah.
washing the hair. It feels creamy, but it still soaps up, but it's natural nutrients that soaps up, not the sulfate.
I have a lot of friends, both
Yeah.
in social media and not on social media, that work in the hair world, and something that they just complain about a lot is that it's actually a problem in nowadays that when someone gets a sulfate-free shampoo and people use it, they say it doesn't feel right because like they're expecting that foam and they're expecting
correct.
that
Yeah,
lather,
yeah.
and they're like, oh well, it doesn't do that, so this must be a bad shampoo, and they're not understanding that it's actually good.
Yeah, good.
And it's
But
actually
this one
healthy.
but this one does have a lather, and it's just mixed. I don't know too much about it yet because I still have to go back to Philly.
Yeah.
And like
Learn more about the ingredients.
Yeah, ingredients. And
I
stuff.
love that you're doing that, by the way.
And but there's like 3 natural products that we have in there that create that lather.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there, so like that, I like kind of knew the sulfate thing, but I didn't really understand why it was bad. I just knew like, oh yeah, sulfate free is better. Are there any other things about hair, your scalp, or anything like that that might be like a misconception to people that people don't realize or don't understand?
Well, a lot of men don't understand that we need to use better products.
Okay.
We just use any products.
Elaborate.
Yeah, like 67,
No 2-in-1 shampoos?
66% of men are losing their hair.
Really?
16% of women are not losing their hair. It's because they use product. They take their time to look into what products that they're using. Man, we don't. We just use whatever it is. Sometimes we use our own body soap and wash our hair.
Wow. Is there
Yeah.
like a particular ingredient that you think men are using more often that's causing that kind of hair loss?
Not at all. Not that I know of.
Or it's just a bunch of different ones? Or it's just like really poor products and
Yeah, but,
packaging and stuff?
You know, it also like your hair is also from like what you eat. Like if you don't eat healthy and if you're super stressed, like you was talking about,
Mhm.
and if you don't add like nutrients to your hair, it's never gonna get better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like by using a good shampoo that has keratin,
Yeah.
like keratin is really good for your hair because it just boosts up your follicles. It's like just adding vitamins to your own hair.
So are there any particular like brands that you know are like men use a lot that you're like, don't use that, that's why you're losing your hair? Like, are there any that you know of off the top of your head?
No, not really. I don't know right now on top of my head now.
What are your thoughts on 3-in-1 shampoos? The ones that's like the shampoo, the conditioner, and the body wash.
It's horrible. It's horrible because it's just like they're just making you want to buy. It's just all.
It's like, oh, it's
all
easy,
business,
but
yeah.
it's bad for you.
Yeah, it's bad.
What about it is
makes no sense.
Can you explain to all the husbands and the brothers out there that don't understand why is that so bad for you?
Because how you gonna wash your hair with something that is for your skin? It's different.
No, oh, I understand. Explain it to them like they're 5. Not that they are, they just aren't hearing when everyone else tells them.
It's like, for example, like lotion. Yeah, like there's lotion for your hands and your skin, and there's lotion for your face.
Yeah.
You know, you can't be using regular lotion on your face that you use in your hands because it's different textures. It's rougher. Your hands are rougher. It's tougher than than your face. You start putting that stuff in your face, it burns your face. It could create damage into your skin. It's the same thing. You can't be mixing what you put in your body into your hair, into your scalp.
Well, also, I feel like your skin and your hair have so many different needs.
Yes,
like when your hands are dry and you put on lotion, there's like a kind of oil that it's like that the lotion is helping you produce and helping to lubricate your hands and things like that you do not want oily hair. You do not want those kinds of oils. That's going to make your hair greasy. And like we all know,
it's gonna make your hair flat.
Right. Like you would never put body lotion on your scalp.
Yeah.
So why would you put soap to clean your body? And like you would never put like antibacterial soap on your body because it's different needs.
Yeah, sure.
You wouldn't do that. That's not going to be comfortable in a lot of different places. Like if you wash your hands with dish soap, when you're not really supposed to do anyways, it's super drying. But there are people who like in the kitchen will use it on their hands.
Yeah.
If you were to put that on, like use that on your legs as body wash, you're going to destroy your skin. People know that. People can hear that and think, yeah, that makes sense. I don't understand why they can't then put 2 and 2 together. That what goes on your body doesn't go on your head.
Right. It's just a selling point. Like you said, everybody wants it easy. So it's like, it's easier. It's maybe cheaper too.
Yeah.
It's definitely
one
cheaper.
product versus, but then that it's more of like, is it cheaper in the long run when then you're then having to go through, okay, my hair is destroyed or my skin is messed up or what do you have to then invest in long term once you've kind of destroyed those essential oils in your skin or your skin barriers or your hair follicles. I bought the most expensive red light therapy helmet for my head. You don't want to do that. Take care of yourself initially. Like it's so much more expensive later to fix the problem than to just deal with it and take care of yourself preemptively.
And that's one of the reasons why we created our product, and we have so much good stuff in there that is I don't want my product to be a Dollar Tree.
Yes, absolutely. You want to be proud of it.
At Walmart,
you got your face on it.
Yeah, our goal is to put it in Target because Target is like a high end places.
Love Target.
It's like $20, $21. Like I'm not selling a shampoo. Like, hey, go get my cheapest shampoo, $6, $9. No, because if it's cheap, it's because you put cheap stuff in.
It's expensive because it's expensive to make to get the good quality ingredients, and that matters. That so matters. Like, I feel like it can also be an accessibility issue, but at the end of the day, it kind of goes into like in the long term, what are you willing to invest in?
Yep.
If investing in your appearance is important to you, then looking into those shampoos and quality things are important. And I feel like there are a lot of men out there who initially are like, well, I don't care what I look like. But then the moment they start to lose their hair, well, then they feel a little bit more vulnerable. And then they lose a lot of confidence. And I think that a lot of dudes kind of start out with the idea of, well, I don't care what I look like, because I feel like they think that's kind of expected of them. But it's okay to care about what you look like. And it's okay to be proud of your appearance. And it's okay to feel confident with your hair. And it's okay to not want to lose it also. And I just wish that more guys realized that.
Yeah.
So are there any, like going back to braiding, are there any misconceptions that people might have about braids or braiding? Like people who go in and either have misunderstandings about what you do or what braids are and like how to take care of them and things like that. Like what are things that people just might not understand?
That they cannot get them wet, basically.
You can't get braids wet?
No.
Why?
Because they'll just come right off.
Fascinating.
Yeah, you can't. If you get your hair braided, you need to not put a cap when you go in the shower and not get them wet. Unless they're box braids. Sometimes you can wash box braids because they're just braided individually.
Okay.
So those you can get wet, and maybe after a couple week or
So
two.
what's the difference between like regular braids and box braids?
So box braids is just like a box and like individually just
Okay,
braid
okay.
it down.
Okay.
And then comb roads is like comb roads back. Going
Okay.
back. So like if you start wetting your hair, it's gonna start getting frizzy, and then little hairs are still gonna pop
Baby
out,
hairs,
and then
yeah.
it's gonna get loose.
Interesting. So how long? So if you were to get, if someone were to get braids tomorrow, how long will those braids last, and how long do they have to keep them not wet, or they just keep them not wet forever?
Yeah, until they want to take them off, like a week,
Wow.
2, a month.
Wow.
And
Okay.
it really depends on how they take care of their hair. Because if they use, after they, before they get braids, did they wash their hair properly, and then get the hair braided, and then while you have the braids, do you use oils to make sure that your scalp is taken care of, and you put oils on your hair, on your scalp? Are you using mousse to like keep the braids nice and tight, keep it nice and good? Are you going to sleep with the do-rag on? Are you going to go work out with the do-rag on?
So I have a couple more questions. So I'm sure like having such a large social media presence and having your own shop and things like that, you get a lot of different characters that come into your store. Do you, and like obviously I talk about this with every profession, and obviously when it comes, especially people who have clients, whether it be personal trainers or hairstylists, barbers, whatever, most of your clients are wonderful and amazing, and like you cannot wait to have them for the rest of their lives. Have you ever had any client experiences of any clients that you've had to fire, say like I can no longer service your hair, I can no longer service you, or have you ever had any clients just act in a way that either disrespected you or your other employees or anything like that like people just need to understand? It's not necessarily like shaming people, but it's more of bringing awareness to like, hey, these people in these professions deal with this kind of behavior, and it's like unacceptable. Like we need to address that this happens, and we need to not do that. Do you have any of those experiences?
No, I don't think so.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so fascinating.
Because I work at a private location. Which it's not a barbershop. It's just like wherever I have all my content. Because nowadays I don't really like have a barbershop. More is just content, really. It's a content place.
So you've never had like a crazy customer?
Maybe years ago, whenever I used to be like in the barber industry, maybe like whenever like a client booked an appointment and I had like an emergency to leave, and like text them like, hey, I can't do your hair today, and they like get really, really angry and like threaten you and stuff.
Wait, you've had a client threaten you?
Yeah, like fight me, not kill me, but
still, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, he was like super angry because it was for his son, and like he gave me so many words, like he said so much, and then years later he still made an appointment, brought his son to get his hair braided.
Oh my God. Okay, so hold on. He got an appointment. You had to cancel. You had an emergency.
Yeah.
He threatened to fight you.
Yeah. Like, oh, if I see you, it's going to be on site or whatever.
What? That's crazy. First of all. And then just years later, like secretly just like sign back up. Did he say anything? Like
I didn't say anything either.
You let him come back?
Yeah. I'm a bigger man. Like, hey, whatever. I just laughed when I saw him. I laughed. And he laughed back. I was a bigger man.
I would have been afraid that it was like a setup. Like I would have been like, no, fearing for my life.
I knew it was no setup. His son is a big fan of me, so I know his son wanted to see me, so I know he wasn't going to do nothing.
That's so scary, though.
That was funny.
That's okay. Okay. Do you have any others that, like, I know it's been a while since you've been, like, just doing the barber stuff, but do you have any others that, like, stick out in your brain? And it's been a while, and that's okay. At first, so when I was a teacher, it was actually really frustrating for me to see the different ways that parents would interact with me versus my male colleagues.
Mm-hmm.
And it was actually really infuriating because the way that parents used to speak to me and my other female peers was so different than the way that parents would speak to male teachers the same age, the same level of experience, saying like even a school the school had a policy change. And the parents that would attack me personally and insult me and threaten me, whereas to the guys, it would be like, oh, we get it. It's out of your control. Like crazy things. Or like even the number of parents that used to try and threaten me and intimidate me into changing their kid's grade, whereas my male peers never had those experiences. So it was at first when you were like, oh no, I've never had, I was thinking like, oh my God, is it the same in the hair world? Like hearing some of the things that Bailey and Siri have dealt with in the hair world. And then I was like, oh my God, is it the same? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like to hear that someone threatened to fight you, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's wild.
There's so many stories, like not towards me, but like other barbers or seeing it in the barber industry is like.
Can you think of any that you think are important to share? Like, hey, people act like this, and maybe we shouldn't be doing that.
There's just so many. I will never forget one day I was at the barber shop, and one of my barbers was doing his client, and here he comes. His wife comes in and starts fighting him right in the middle of the barber.
The wife? Why?
She was just, I don't know, I guess he was cheating or whatever it was. And she started swinging on the boy. And she went outside, got a bucket of water. I don't even know from where. And she came and threw it at him. It was funny. I will never forget.
Oh my gosh. What did he do? Did he just carry on?
She left and then he sat back down and finished his haircut. Yeah, it was funny.
Did the client say anything?
No, that's what I'm saying. Any of the other clients?
Yeah.
Everybody was just laughing. It was just funny at the moment, I guess.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I don't even know, how I would react.
Yeah, so many, there was also one kid had a gun inside the barbershop, and we didn't know until it let off inside the barbershop.
Wait, on purpose or on accident?
Accident. He was taking it out his drawer to put it back in his jacket. And it went off and it hit 5 stations. Nobody was at the shop and the bullet was.
And this was someone that worked at the barber shop.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! And he didn't put it away properly. Clearly.
Clearly, no.
Oh my! And so no one was at the barber shop.
No, nobody. It was me, the owner, and 3 other people.
Thank God.
On the other side.
Holy moly! What ended up happening? Did he get in trouble?
He got fired. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, good. I was like, something happened to him, right?
Yeah, he got fired.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so dangerous. Holy moly.
Yeah, so it's that's why I have my private studio. I can't work with nobody. I'm too strict.
After experiencing fighting weapons, you got kids.
Yeah, for sure.
You don't got time for that.
That's why I have my shop and it's just me there, and I have one of my friends there too. He does music, so we have a recording studio at my location too. So he's private recording studios and stuff like that.
Wow.
Shit, yeah.
That's crazy. Well, are there any other things that you want to either talk about or address or just let people know, whether it comes to misconceptions about braiding or healing from accidents, working at a barber shop, anything like that you think is important to end with?
I think it's very important to have a connection with God. God is definitely a person that helped me throughout this process with my hand and healing. And to live the moment, don't think about so much about the money and becoming rich. Live the moment, don't rush. We all going to the same place. We all dying at the end of the day. Live every moment, enjoy every moment. Just be good parents. That's the most important thing.
I love that.
Be good parents. Make sure that you are doing it. Don't have just kids and I have kids. But
don't just have them. Be the parent.
Be a parent. If I see you and you're not stressing, and if you look old makeup and you look fresh and this and that tells me something that you're not.
And your kids don't,
that you're not so involved. You need to be involved, and being involved is stressful. Being involved is tiring. Being involved, but that's our job as a parent. As they grow and become themselves.
I love that.
It's very important. I have 2 little girls, and they're my world, and I just want to make sure people, whenever they have kids, that be a parent. Take your time and be a parent. Be stressed, be annoyed, be everything, because that comes with it, and it's beautiful.
Feel all of it, the good and the bad.
Yeah, for sure.
Because no matter what, not only is it worth it, but your kids need it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, of course.
Oh, I love that so much. Well, thanks so much for hanging out with me
Of course, I
today.
appreciate you
Oh,
bringing me
yeah.
on.
No, thank you for I know that some of this is like really vulnerable topics, so I appreciate you talking about it. And like I'm so serious. Like I think it's so important when people have products, like
Yeah.
really caring about what goes into
Yeah,
it.
yeah, for
Not
sure.
only caring about what goes into it, but like you and I, we're not science people.
Yeah.
But like
Sure.
the fact that you're going up there to really learn
Yeah,
more
we're
about
I'm
what's
going
in
out there.
here,
Yeah.
I love that. Like that's so
Yeah.
important to me.
Well, I'm going
So
out there on. So we just got all our stuff in, and we're going out there maybe next week or the week after, because now all our product is not out yet right now. It's only for like pre-orders. So everything
that's
is
so cool.
only for pre-orders on my website in the link in my bio, and then we're gonna start shipping them out in the next like 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
I
And
love
yeah,
that.
and we did it all here. Like it could have been a lot easier if I'd have just went China or Turkey and order like
No.
just put a logo on it and maybe spend $5,000-$10,000 on the product and make a lot of money on it. But no, we went the hardest and the most expensive route to be able to
Make sure it's good.
Because if anybody knows that to make a hair product here in the U.S., it is very expensive. You're not walking without making. You have to invest at like minimum $100,000
Wow.
to just because it's like you have to order like 10,000 units.
Wow.
They don't do less than that. So it's like a lot of money if you want to make it here in the US. So I believe it's going to be a journey. It's going to be hard to sell or whatever the case is because I have a big platform. I have 14 million followers throughout my old platforms.
Wow.
We don't know who's really going to buy,
Yeah.
We don't know if nobody may be buying. Maybe I'll get 1 order, 2 orders, but it's okay because every journey doesn't start easy. It doesn't be handed to you.
Absolutely.
So I expect this to be very hard for me, and it's okay because I like challenge.
And at the end of the day, you
Yeah.
made something you're proud of.
Correct. Yeah,
And that's so important.
I'm very proud of. So I
I
know once
love
this
that.
drops, it's gonna be a journey and it's gonna be hard, and I'm gonna learn it, and we're gonna make it. And I'm gonna make it happen one day. I promise you, that's gonna be in Target. No lie.
Oh,
It
absolutely.
could be months, it could be a year, it could be years, but it will be.
It
in
will be
Target.
there.
Yeah, it will be there one
I
day.
love that. I think that's an important message.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank
And then
you
and
today.
also the messages in the back is
Mhm.
basically is that my product is more showcasing like don't ever give up.
I love
That's
that.
why in all my videos now, like when I end my videos, I always say don't ever give up because that stuck to me. Like I never gave up, and we just can't give up on whatever we want.
Absolutely. Persevering.
Yeah.
Eventually one shoe will drop
Mm-hmm.
and it'll just work out. Things will work out the way that it's
Yeah,
meant to work
for
out.
sure. Yeah.
Thanks so much for hanging out with me today.
Of course. Appreciate you having me.
Oh, absolutely. And I hope that you guys love Nito. I keep trying to call you Juan. Love Nito as much as I love Nito. And before you leave, my cousin is so obsessed with you, so he's gonna want to say hello. He's over there eating dinner right now.
Thank
But
you so much.
thank you guys for hanging out with us, and we'll see y'all next week.
That's right.
Bye, my
If
lovelies.
you don't know how to braid, hit that follow button. Let's go.